Living in London in the 80s, part 3. Well, the other parts are on my page somewhere. This is the part after I get married. We were living in N4 in North London. And as I mentioned before, I couldn't work legally. So getting married meant I could work legally. And because I was married and I had a supportive husband, it really meant that I could do what I wanted to do, which was to be in the fashion industry. I went to try out for a job for Zandra Rhodes, who is an amazing, incredible designer. And they asked me to cut a piece of chiffon. She works mostly with chiffons, especially at that time, on the bias. I had no idea what that meant, and I did my best. And obviously, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't get the job. But the world really was my oyster, because being an American in London brought you certain benefits. Like, people thought you were of a certain class, because the class system there, especially at the time, was very obvious, and you could tell by the way you spoke. So I decided to go to Harvey Nichols and to get a job in one of the departments. I stopped working at the Camden market and decided I wanted a career in fashion in London. I was promoted. The woman that was the floor manager was also an American, married to an Englishman. So we had a thing. And I was really on my way to being a buyer for Harvey Nichols. If I look back at it now, it just goes to show you, like, if you're not happy, it doesn't matter what's going on outside of you. It doesn't matter all the success or that you could have. I loved my husband, but he was always, we were always going to be moving back to California. And for him, he just couldn't do it. He just couldn't get there. So I was resentful and unhappy. But the fashion was amazing in Harvey Nichols. Like, it was the only Harvey Nichols at the time, right down the street from Harrods, on the corner of Sloane Square. And it was an incredible time to be there with the budding designers. One of my stories is I was in my department and I met, like, the word was out that Princess Di was in the building, and she came up to me. It was a Nancy Heller cashmere sweater, and she looked at the price and she looked at me and she said, "Is this the price?" All right, that's a terrible accent. But those were the days when it was just her and her bodyguard. Like, that's what you could do. That's how small London was. I'm going to run out of time. I'm going to do a part 2 to this part 3.